everybody, and welcome to my review of the 1998 Disney animated classic, Mulan. Released in 1998. So, Mulan, the next Disney classic on my list to review. So, the basic plot of Mulan is that it centers around the young girl known as Mulan, who lives in China. This is set during the time when the Huns were at war with China, and the emperor has decreed that there must be one man from every family to serve in the army to fight against the Huns. Mulan's father is old, weak, and frail, and he can barely walk, basically. So she, in a very brave and extreme attempt, goes in his place and disguises herself as a man to save his life and fight in the war, but also try and prove herself to her family. And that's really the plot of Mulan. So, Mulan, yep, I love it. Another absolutely fantastic movie. This movie is just amazing. I think it's absolutely brilliant. I mean, it couldn't be more perfect. It's the reason why I love Mulan so much is that it's such a powerful story. The story is so good, and I think Mulan herself as a character proves to be a great role model for young girls. Not necessarily going into war, but standing up and taking a stand and fighting for the people you love. And I really respect that. And Mulan herself as a character, she's brilliant. She's one of the best, if not the best, Disney princess. I know she's not technically a princess. Well, okay, I'll say Disney heroine. She's one of the best Disney heroines because she's just so brave. There's no prettiness to her. She's not a bimbo. She's not she's not singing and dancing. She's not even remotely happy with her life. She finds it difficult to fit in, and she's trying to prove herself to her family. And her bravery and her courage is what identifies her as a strong character. She's the one that essentially saves China. She risks everything for her family, but she ends up saving China. So she's a wonderful character, and her development throughout the story is fantastic. Yeah, I think she's awesome. She's really awesome. Oh God, I won't even mention about the sequel to this movie. It's not worth it. Okay, the other characters you have. Mulan's family are not really in the story that much, but I'll talk about them briefly. Her father is Farzu. He's this old man who's weak. They kind of live on a farm, and he's got problems with his back or something, and he's very weak and frail. That's pretty much it. And the other ones are just there, like Mulan and her mother. Not Mulan and her, sorry, Mulan's mother and grandmother. They're just kind of there, really. They don't do anything in the story, but they're just there to be a part of the family. You have Shang, the main general. He's really cool. He's pretty much this macho man, and he does his job quite well. The actor voices him fairly well. And his relationship with Mulan is interesting, although he doesn't really know who she is until very late in the day. So it does make their love story kind of come out of nowhere, but it's a tradition in Disney movies to do that, so I won't hold it against the movie, but there we go. You have who else do you have? Oh, of course, Mushu, Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy plays the comic character in this movie, Mushu, who's this little dragon creature who's he's a servant of the Guardians, who are like the spirits of the spirits of the ancestors of Mulan's family, and Mushu mistakenly is sent to aid Mulan in her quest to save her father. But he's a funny character. He definitely has his moments. He does almost feel a little bit out of place in the story because this movie's trying to be so serious and gritty. I mean, I'm glad that he's in there for light relief, but at times his character comes off a little bit like a dick. I'm not overstating that, just ever so slightly. There are some times when, especially towards the cricket, he comes across as a little bit ignorant and a bit of a dick. So maybe they could have softened him down a bit. Like, he could have been nicer. I mean, you can tell that the character is very arrogant. He wants to be on that pedestal. He wants the glory. He wants the fame. And he learns his lesson. So he does learn his lesson, and he is quite funny in some of the scenes, especially the scene when Mulan enters the camp, when she's trying to act like a man. That's very funny. You have the cricket, who isn't voiced by anybody, who just makes the noises, but the cricket's quite charming in what they have to do. The only other character I can really talk about, well, I suppose there's the Emperor, who's in it very briefly. Then you've got the main antagonist, Shan Yu. Now, if I had to make a criticism of this movie, it would definitely be Shan Yu. He's the weak link of the cast. I don't know who voices him, but he just, for me, he doesn't do anything, and he's just kind of meh. Like, he's just kind of meh. Like, he's neither great nor is he terrible. He just kind of, he is. He's just Shan Yu. I mean, he has a pretty scary yell, but beyond that, nothing. He just comes across like a bit of a sissy, really. Well, not necessarily a sissy. Like, they try to make him sinister, but it's the voice. It's the actor's voice that it's too mono. It's too mono. It's too like one note. It's like he speaks in this constant tone like this because he's Shan Yu. Tell your emperor to send your strongest armies. I'm ready. He doesn't come across as menacing, and I mean physically he looks quite scary, and he has this eagle that follows him around, but the voice doesn't really add to it. The voice almost detracts from it, really. So I thought he was definitely the weakest performance. And he doesn't have many scenes in the story either, so yeah, but it's not a major complaint because most of the movie's so good. The animation is absolutely beautiful. This is one of their best animations for the simple fact that it looks so good. I mean, just the design of China and everything is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. It's like a paint, like all these paintings stitched together. Just a marvel, just an absolute marvel. I also really like that this movie is dramatic. It's about something. It has a heart. I mean, The Little Mermaid was a lot more sort of playful and in tone. It was more kind of girly. This is more serious. This is more of a war movie. It has its moments of comedy as well. All the other characters I forgot to mention were the three supporting characters. Yao, King of the Rock, Ling and Chenpo. They're the three sidekicks, essentially. They're the three goofballs who are there to provide some more comedy. They're fun characters as well. I like them. I think that the pacing is absolutely perfect. This is a 90-minute movie. Flew by. Absolutely flew by. I mean, there is not one dull moment in this story. Not one dull moment in the story. And it's a powerful movie. This has so much emotional heart. It's so emotionally strong. I mean, first of all, the scene when when you see Fazu trying to grab the sword and he's trying to swing his sword around, but he can't. He's too weak. He can't do it. But he knows he has to go out there, but he can't. But he knows he's not going to survive. But he knows he has to go out there because it's the law. And then Mulan's transformation scene is just epic. I love the moment when she takes the scroll and then leaves her hairband down there. It's just a beautiful moment that conveys so much, and the look on her face as she sees her parents in the bed sleeping, and then she just goes off and she cuts her hair and she puts on the armor. It's like, oh my god, this is so brave. I mean, that scene alone is another reason why I think Mulan is one of the best Disney heroines of the hand-drawn legacy. She's so good. She's amazing. From a design standpoint, it looks really awesome. It looks great. I mean, the culture of China is brilliant. I mean, this would look just as good in live action as well. I mean, they are going to remake this movie. I mean, they're going to remake all of them in live action. I believe the remake is actually out next year, which would be 20 years after this movie. So, I guess it's appropriate. Yeah, I mean, the cast are pretty good. I don't really know who most of them are, but the ones I do know, obviously Eddie Murphy as Mushu. Donny Osmond, no, that's not Donny Osmond. BD Wong as Shang, James Hong, he plays a funny character, Chifu, who's the Emperor's consul. There are a lot of characters in this movie as well. All the cast are great. They're really good in their roles. Other than Sean Yu, he's the weakest. Um, the movie's just epic as well. Like the story, because it's about a war. It's so epic. My favorite scene in this movie has to be that big battle in the mountains. That is a brilliant scene. The music to go with that is just awesome, and the tension there is great. And then when Mulan looks in the sword at the reflection of the mountain, and then she has the idea to cause the avalanche. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant moment. It is directed superbly. I mean, I can't really fault the direction whatsoever. It might come across as a little scary to some of the younger audiences. I mean, I know that when I was younger, I used to get scared by the Huns, and they definitely do their jobs very well. Like I said, the pacing's perfect. The action is awesome. Like I said, the mountain fight, the climax in the palace is insanely good. It's wonderful to behold, and the soundtrack to this movie is amazing. I'm not just talking about the songs. The music score by Jerry Goldsmith, fantastic. It is so epic and powerful. Like that constant theme that you keep hearing, the dun 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 dun. It's so good. It's so fucking good. I mean, this guy. I mean, he definitely captures the feeling of the feeling of war and the tension, and like the theme for the Huns as well. The da 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 da, like particularly intense scene the scene where the Huns arise from the snow is a great moment. It really is. And like I said, the movie has such an emotional heart. I mean, I invested in the relation. Fuck's sake! I invested in the relationship with most of the characters, pretty much. Like particularly more with Mushu and Mulan, they have a good friendship. And there's another powerful scene when Shang nearly kills Mulan after they discover that she's a woman, and then because she saved his life, he just throws the sword down. He's like, "A life for a life. My debt is repaid." Just such a brilliant scene. I mean, in the end, this is a great movie. It's got a powerful message, an emotional heart. The story is superb. The soundtrack is awesome. I also love the opening scene on the Great Wall of China. It's brilliant, and it's a great moment to kind of ignite the war as well, because the Huns arrive in China, and they light the beacons, and the guard, when he says, "Now all of China knows you're here," then he says, "Perfect." I mean, this movie is pretty much a masterpiece. My only criticisms are Sean Yu as the villain was weak, and again, this is a problem that is pretty much consistent throughout nearly all of the Disney hand-drawn movies, is the disassociation. Is that all of the cast sound American? No matter where it's set, you're going to get an American cast. This is set in China. I know there were a lot of Chinese audiences that were offended by this. Yes, it would have been better to have a Oriental cast, but to be honest, it works well enough. I'm not going to knock the movie for it, but it would have been nice to have a more Oriental cast. But I guess they needed not so much Mushu really, but it's more the like Mulan and her family, because you need some A-list stars in there. You need some people to bring the audiences, bring the money in. The songs as well. There's not many this time, but there are some good ones. Honor to Us All, that's a nice one. That's a very good one. Mulan's preparing to be, get ready for the matchmaker. I guess it's customary to have the Chinese women be arranged to be married and serve their men, as they were. Then you have Reflection, which is very short, way too short, but it's so beautifully done. It would have been great for her to do a reprise of that after they leave her in the mountains. That would have been nice. That would have been a great moment to do that. Then you have I'll Make a Man Out of You, which is the training song. The training scenes are all really good. Those are the scenes when you see the most comedy as well, especially when Chifu says he doesn't scream like a girl and then he wails like a girl. It's brilliant. and the scene in the river when they're having a bath is funny. And then the only other song in there is A Girl Worth Fighting For, which is a nice song. The songs are nice, but they're not as impactful as some of the other Disney movies, but they are quite catchy. But I don't think they're the best songs ever conceived. But I enjoy listening to them if I ever listen to the soundtrack. But yeah, no, Mulan is an absolute masterpiece. It's great. It's so good, and I'm definitely going to give it a 10 out of 10. So, yeah, guys, that's my review of Mulan. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Put your comments down below. Let me know. Tune in next time when I take a look at the original Jungle Book movie. Until then, guys, have a nice evening. I'm Mr. Stardust11, and see ya.